Well, hello, folks, and welcome to the Dieter Melhorn Fishing Podcast. Hope you're having a good day, whatever day it is that you happen to be checking out the show. For all the regular listeners, appreciate you coming back, and for all the new folks, welcome. We're going to talk about a cheating scandal in tournament fishing. We've done these before. They're always interesting, and it's usually because of the circumstances that lead up to them and why people do it and some of the silly reasons they do them for. This one is from the bass fishing world, where a lot of these come from and get publicized from. It's probably because there is more media attention in the bass fishing world than there is in the catfish world, crappie world. Walleye world did a good job of it with the deal a couple of years ago when all that stuff was caught on camera. But this one involved a lie detector test, a polygraph test, a voice stress test, whatever you want to call it, to where someone is tested to see whether they're telling the truth. It involved JT Thompkins. He is a rookie bass fisherman, and keep that in mind. We're going to talk about that here in a minute, why that may be important. And this was in the Bassmaster Elite Series, and they were fishing on the St. Lawrence River, and apparently this happened Friday. And following the competition, he was subjected to a truth detection test. I do not know exactly which one it is, and I say which one because there are several different lie detector type analysis methods they use, and some of them are the traditional lie detector with all the different connections. Some of them are just a voice stress test. Some of them are some other things that they use, and there's various different levels. I would assume that Bass, being as big an organization as they are, and with all the money riding on what they're doing, uses probably the best thing going. So we'll just leave it at that on what exactly was done. But what ended up happening was he failed the test, and it had to do with a section of the rules that pertain to getting information that is not regularly available to people. Basically, the bass tournaments, most of them are prohibited from, the competitors are prohibited from getting information about a lake they are fishing on, information that is not publicly available. So, I mean, you could be watching the news and see something on the news, that would be perfectly fine. But if you call up your buddy that you know that fishes there a whole bunch and ask them where the fish are biting this morning or this week, that would not be acceptable. And that's along the lines of what he fell for. I'm going to pull up a screenshot here. This is from another YouTube channel. I'm going to put you a link to. I like this guy's channel. He has some coverage on this, and he actually shows what exactly the rule is there. It's Get Your Fish On. It is a YouTube channel that I like, and I like the stuff that he puts up, so I'll put you a link down there. But that's the rule in detail as to what exactly happens. So the other thing about this guy's channel that I really like was he has a piece of information on where exactly this stuff came from. And this is one of the more shocking things. I had not heard this anywhere else, and I found this very, very interesting. Let's roll this little clip and see what he says.
Now, allegedly, there was a Bass Pro Tour official that sold these waypoints or these spots to JT.
So, Powell, I find it interesting that a series official would be doing this. I'd like to hear more details on this and what happened. If y'all know anything about this, I know there are people that watch this channel that are into the bass fishing scene, and put a comment, drop a comment on what you've heard, what you know about this, because I think that is a fascinating angle on all of this. And y'all may be wondering why I'm so much into the bass fishing world. I actually probably listen to and watch more bass fishing content than I do stuff from the catfishing world, because I think there are a lot of parallels in the fishing industry, tournament fishing, and they're kind of ahead of the game, to be perfectly honest, as to what goes on. But there's a lot of stuff industry-wise that I take away from this stuff, and that's why I end up talking about this stuff, because indirectly it pertains to us, and it pertains to people, I say us, that are in the catfish world, that are outside of the bass world. I fish for a lot of different stuff. I'm not a bass fisherman, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on there that trickles down and pertains to people in different places. So, I find this interesting as to why this happened. And, you ask yourself why, and I mentioned earlier that he was a rookie, and there's a lot of rookies. Those of you that are not into the bass fishing world may not realize, but there are a lot of really good rookies that have made it into the Elite Series fishing, and that is for one simple reason, and that's technology. We've always had good rookies that have came onto the scene and blown people up. Kevin Van Dam did it back in the day, but there's a lot more of them now, and it has to do with forward-facing sonar. The technology with forward-facing sonar has made it a lot easier for young anglers with very little experience to catch fish, and you're seeing more and more of them out there. And that lust to be good, that drive, whatever, to get that edge, to win, to be the man, to be up there holding the trophy, it can lead to people doing some less than desirable things. We saw that with the guys in the walleye tournament where they were stuffing weights. Now, I don't compare these two events to each other necessarily, but again, you look at those guys in the walleye tournament that were caught cheating on video, and allegations are there that this had went on for a long time. And you wonder, why do you do that? And for most of them, again, we've heard this repeatedly, it's not about the money. Most of them, the money is either inconsequential or they've got plenty of it. It's about the notoriety. Pretty much every tournament where we've seen somebody cheat, they were not hard up for money. They were not scraping by to be there. And, I think in this situation, probably somebody did something that, maybe they didn't know about, but I guarantee if you're smart enough to figure out a forward-facing sonar, you're smart enough to read the rules and what you can and can't do. So there's a rule book. There's stuff you have to sign that you accept, understand, and acknowledge the rules. And I think they do it because of just that drive of wanting to win that bad and being that, that high pedestal. And that's too bad. Another bass fishing podcast that I listen to and show is Randy Blockett. You've heard me mention him before. Intuitive Angling, got a great show. He's the biggest man. He's the biggest hater when it comes to forward-facing sonar. But he has an interesting clip. I listened to his podcast. I had something on this, and he says something here just about the perspective that some of the younger anglers don't have, and this probably transcends fishing. It transcends bass fishing for sure. I'm sure it expands into every other type of tournament competitive fishing out there, and that's the integrity and the preservation and respect for the bigger picture, the bigger group, the bigger thing out there being the sport itself. Let's listen to what Randy had to say.
Is when you're a young angler and you come up through the ranks into Bassmaster, one of the things that you have to realize is that you have a tremendous responsibility. Bassmaster is the foundation of this sport, and when you come up, if you're a rookie and you come up on the Bassmaster circuit, you are standing on the shoulders of some mighty people that came before you, men of integrity and ethics and courage, and people that want to do the right things. You're talking about the Bill Dances, the Hank Parkers, the Mark Davises, the Rick Cluns, the Guido Hibdens, everyone like that. And you can't come upon the scene and just basically do what you want to do, ignore the rules, try to skirt the gray areas, try to live on the edge all the time to get some type of an advantage. Because the thing about that is that type of overambition is dysfunctional. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be successful, but you cannot do that at the cost of your own credibility and integrity.
Yeah, guys, I love Randy's channel. He's got a good perspective on a lot of different stuff in fishing and in life. If you get a chance to listen to him, he slams out the content. He puts out stuff daily, and if you've ever, you'll never have to wonder what his stance is on forward-facing sonar, because he will tell you. I'll put you a link to his channel too, Intuitive Angling. Great guy. I like his content. But I think what he said is true. I think they're you know, in a lot of places, a lot of ways. And listen, I'm not saying this for all the young anglers out there, whether it be in bass fishing or anywhere else. But there are a lot that have rapidly climbed to the top because of, you know, the opportunities they have in technology and everything. And sometimes you can kind of forget about the history and everything, all the groundwork that was put there for you to be there in that position to do that. We see this in racing, see it in NASCAR. I do a lot of stuff in the NASCAR world, and you know, you see the same thing there. So it's something to keep in mind for the younger folks out there, is that you know, sometimes you don't always have to pay your dues as roughly as the people before you, but be cognizant of that. Be grateful that there's some people that have laid down a lot so you can be there, whether it be in, you know, fishing, in work, technology, whatever. And, you know, try to have respect for the bigger picture out there, you know, fishing itself, the sport of fishing, that type thing. So I think it's a interesting deal. I think you're going to see more of this. I think with more and more people being able to get into competitive fishing relatively easy to what it used to be, and the fact that we're surrounded and inundated with technology, it's almost hard. You have to consciously, I think 5-10 years ago, you probably would have had to make a conscious and concerted effort to find out information and do the digging. Now, I think you have to make a concerted effort to not see the information and not look and stay off of it and that kind of thing. So I think it's an interesting perspective. I think we'll see more of it. I think it'll happen more and more often. And it's a tough one to police for the tournament people. You know, for bass, it's very tough to keep up with this and be able to hand anything down. So I commend them for what they're doing. And hopefully we get a few more details on it. I got a feeling that, like with a lot of these deals, it was taken care of in the public statement that the bass tournament people made, and they'll probably move on from it from there. So, but yeah, just something we'll make you aware of. Appreciate you checking it out. We'll catch you out on the water.